All right. It is Mother's Day today. I went to Santa Barbara to go see my mother and my mother-in-law. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I love my mom. My mom is one of the funniest people I know. She's a classic lady. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but when I was in high school, my dad was out of town on a business trip. My mom was always like more lenient than my dad, you know? My dad would like put his foot down, but he was out of town and I was with one of my friends and we are going to have a couple girls over. We told the girls that we'd have alcohol and we didn't have it though, you know? We still had to get it. Sounds like a movie plot, but no, this really happened. So we had asked my mom if she would get the alcohol. And she's like, "No, I'm not trying to be liable for that. You know how teenage girls are. You know, what if they get too wasted and they like suck off the cab driver on the way home or something?" It's like, "Damn, mom, it was my first malt 40." She didn't want to be liable. You know, parents never want that. They never want to buy alcohol if the kids drink at their house and then they go off and something bad happens and then it's their fault. You know. So she's like, "Check it out. I'll get you and your friend real alcohol and we'll get them fake alcohol." I was like, um, "I think they're gonna know the difference." And she's like, "Alcohol is just the excuse, Ryan." And that's a life lesson that stuck with me forever. We ended up getting the fake alcohol. It was like O'Doul's or whatever. I don't even know. Non-alcoholic beer. She got us whiskey. We had like a pint of probably Jack Daniels. I don't remember. But anyway, we ended up getting drunk, and the girls acted like they were drunk. Like, oh, I'm so wasted right now. I'm like, really? Oh, I don't want to sound like a slut, but like maybe we should 69. I'm drunk. I don't even know what I'm saying. It was really funny. I mean, I don't know. You had to be there. But that's what kind of mom I had growing up. You know, she was always like kind of in on it with me and she was just cool. My dad was really cool as well. And my partner, Karina, couldn't ask for a better mother for our child. She's a great mom, really attentive, almost too caring. You know, she coddles him too much. I'm like more of the school of thought where like if he falls off like furniture, I'm just like, babe, he's got to learn that he can't do that. And she, you know, she won't. She'll like dive after him like she fucking fumbled a football or something. She'll like just grab him. And it doesn't really matter that she coddles him like that. I mean, the point is that she's a wonderful, caring person, great partner, great mother. Never would have expected that when I knew her. We were both, as we like to say, a couple drunk, dumb sluts. Yeah. I gave her a good day. And I gave my mom a good day too. I got them both birthday cards and I had Nico, like I put paint on his hand and stamped it for them, traced it, wrote them nice cards, got them both gifts. It was a nice time. And now it's like 2 in the morning. I get back. I really didn't want to do a video, but honestly, I've been slacking pretty hard lately. I've had to. Um, but I don't know. I felt like I had to throw down. So I will. That was like I think just after reading YouTube comments, it's just the same shit. You're boring now. You're boring. Your stories suck now. You know, I've I've uploaded like over 200 stories. Most of them are like 40 minutes to an hour long. I don't see the people talking shit doing that. Now, I realize that's what I do. But you don't need to watch, you know? Like and by telling me stuff like that, what do you think that's going to do? You know, what are you like the kind of person that goes to a Tupac show and you're like, "Whoa, fuck. Hey, nah, nah, dog. Your fucking rhyming's boring, dog. I'm out of here, fool. Let's go. Let's go back to the hotel. No, no, leave the hyenas right here, fool. Just me and you, dog. I got some glass, fool. Come on, let's go. You know, it's like, come on, man. And if you don't like it, just don't watch it. I don't know. That's just me. I wouldn't do that. I don't even leave like a 1-star review, except for that one tire shop. Remember that tire shop that tried to like scam my family? That was crazy. The only reason I got so mad is because we had a fucking toddler in the car. I mean, you're gonna sell us faulty tires on purpose? They were like literally stripped. It was crazy. What if we got in a car accident? Piece of shit. So, I mean, we'll get through this story. Then there's the third prison term. Now I'm doing great right now. I'm probably the happiest I've ever been right now in this period. Every area of my life is going really well. My manager just got me an acting gig in a movie. Just a lot of good shit's been happening. I'm looking forward to that. I don't want to be an actor, but still, you know, it'd be fun to be on a set and act. Probably have like one line. I won't even have like a real name. It'll be like one of those roles where it's like man 5 or some shit, you know? And you're like, dude, I'm man 5 in that movie. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Patreon.com/Ryan Leone. Also, I'm trying to grow my Facebook, Ryan Leone 85, Facebook.com/Ryan Leone 85. All my shit's Ryan Leone 85. Twitter, Instagram, whatever. All right, let's get into the story. Sorry. I don't know. It's late. I'm trying. This is for you. This is for the people that are still up. I'm trying to figure out how they're going to pass their drug test when they go see parole tomorrow. All right. So where we're at in the story is really shit's about to come all crashing out. I mean, things are happening at every angle. First of all, I get called into the probation office because they want to discuss something. They don't tell me what. They always do that. I feel like you're in an Alfred Hitchcock movie or something, you know, or like some episodic television show that's like to be continued. You're like, what the fuck, you know, like you waited because you wanted the resolution, and then it's like finally getting to the resolution. That's like to be continued. I do that all the time. I'm sorry, bad example. I wasn't trying to, you know, to point the attention at me, but they would never tell you what it is, and that'd be horrible, you know. This particular night, I forget what I was doing. I was at Jeff's house because that's where I was living. And I don't know. I forget what I was doing. I think I was like learning how to do some, I don't know. I don't remember. I was doing something on the computer and like just twacked out on it. I wasn't on any drugs except for Suboxone, but I stayed up all night. Fuck, I wish I could remember what it was. I think I might have been doing like making a website maybe for my nonprofit that I was trying to launch. I think that's what it was. Like, I don't know if you ever have that where like you're on the computer for like 5 or 6 hours and your eyes just like get fried open and you're just like, ugh, and then they're like bloodshot. I mean, and you just feel like it's draining, you know, just to be staring at the computer screen and jerking off for 6 or 7 hours sober, like a weirdo. But anyway, so I hadn't slept. You know, I was up all night working on this website, and my PO had told me that he wanted me to come into the office. I mean, they give you some advance warning that you have to come into the office, and usually when you go in the office, you have to test. But I think they do it on purpose, where they tell you, like, you know, in state, they just call you and they're like, "Hey, you need to come in today," and that's that. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going, and they can arrest you. Feds can't do that. They have to have a U.S. Marshal do it. But still, you know, I mean, anyone that's been arrested, you kind of have PTSD, and they'll call you like a week ahead of time and say, "Hey, you got to come into the office," and then you'll just stew in that shit. You know, you're like, "Fuck." I know I didn't do amphetamines, you know, but who knows? You know, maybe they sent it to the lab and they found out there was bleach in it. How would I explain that? You know? Oh no, 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 I'm just on some bleach trip right now, Josh. Why? What do you mean why? Because it's bleach. God, Josh. You're so behind, dude. It's not even, it's organic, dude. I get it at the farmer's market. Speaking of which, and the reason I'm saying the farmer's market, because so I was supposed to go to his office. I don't know, like a probably like on a Wednesday, and this is a Saturday because it's farmer's market in Santa Barbara. Jeff goes like every Saturday at 10 a.m. If you live there, you will see him. He's barefoot. He's found God. He'll probably talk to you about it. He does that to me all the time. I'm like, I still love you, bro. And so we're headed to the farmer's market. It's like 10 a.m. Haven't slept. Eyes are all bloodshot. And my PO calls me and he's like, where are you right now? I'm like, going to farmer's market Saturday, going to get organic bleach. Duh. I mean, he didn't normally do that. Now, I have to say this though. I was supposed to be living with my parents. I wasn't. I was living with Jeff, and you're not allowed to do that. You have to give him a change of address. But like any convict, parolee on probation, you know not to give him your real address. You know, I did this last time, and I wasn't even in trouble. Like I didn't do anything wrong, and they raided my house with a SWAT team. They're like, "You didn't take your domestic violence classes." They like had like AR-15s pointed at my girl, and like there's the editor for the doc. One of the editors was like living here for a while, just like working on it. He was in this room. He used to sleep in this little hellhole. And like Carino and I would fight all the time. It was crazy. But it was like his first day there. And like a gun got pointed to his head. And what's funny is my manager is the one that had him come here. And before me, he was with Boston George from Blow. And that guy is a fucking wild animal as well. So like, and this guy, the editor, his name's Mike. He's like the most quiet, like introverted person I've ever met. And first day there, he's just like coming out like this, and there's like a gun to the back of his head. They cuff me, and I'm like, "Can you lower the weapon?" He's like, "Why would I do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. In case you shoot me? What do you mean?" It's like, "I wouldn't do that. I'm a professional." It's like, please, dude. If you're a professional, you won't be a cop. You know, Google how many accidental police shooting homicides happen every year. I'm ridiculous. But and then at the end they're like, you didn't take your domestic violence classes. I'm like, dude, what? I don't have a domestic. What are you talking about? I'm a pimp. That's just one example. So I'd given him my address and that happened. So, but before that, before I was trying to walk the straight line, I would not give them my address for that very reason. Because they show up and want to do weird shit. Sniff your underwear. Like, oh, I swear to God. Smells like cocaine. Come into the office. They're always, POs are always creeps, dude. What a fucking weird job, you know? Babysitting. I'm like 32 at the time. Weirdo. But so that morning he called me. He's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm going to the farmer's market." He's like, "That sounds suspicious." Like it was obvious the dude was already out to get me. It's like, what do you mean it sounds suspicious? He's like, "You're not a farmer." I'm like, dude. Jeff's like laughing in the background. He's like, "Who is that? One of your pothead friends? We're on to you, Leone." It's Leone, Josh. It's Leone. He's like, "Give me an address." So I had to give him one. He ends up meeting me there. Now remember, I've been up all night. I think I was like working on a website or something. And the first thing he says to me is, like, he doesn't even say like, "I think you might be inebriated. You might be under the influence of drugs." Nothing like that. "You're on heroin." I'm like, why am I on heroin? Bloodshot eyes. It's like, okay. You caught me, dude. I said no. I've been programming a website. I've been writing code, looking at like viewing source and like doing all this outdated shit from like the mid 90s. I just didn't know that you could just like use templates now and do it in like 5 minutes. I was doing it like the old school way. It looked horrible. I had like one of those old school like page counters on it. Like 7 people have seen this website. So he's convinced that I was on heroin. You know, that's what he said. "You're on heroin." And Jeff like takes his shoes off. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna go buy fresh potatoes. I'm out of here." Like, thanks, dude. Good fucking homie you are, dude. All right. I mean, he didn't want to stand there with me while I'm getting chewed out by some PO. I mean, that part of his life is like way, way over. So he left, and Josh is just like, I know you're not living with your parents. I'm like, really? How do you know that? He's like, I just know. Call it a cop punch. I'm like, dude, you're not even a cop. What the fuck? At the reason I'm saying this, and this is actually how the conversation went, is because this is like when we start getting really confrontational. I still hadn't gone into his office, so I didn't know what was going on. But what I'd find out later is that they were trying to put me back in jail. They were trying to catch me. That's why they would just show up at my house randomly and be like, "Is Ryan here?" But see, my parents are really cool. They'd be like, "Yeah, he lives here," you know. And I'm like, what are they going to say to my parents? My parents are like the nicest people, like, you know, no, mm-mm. Are you still in a gang, Mrs. Leone? They're not going to say shit like that. So after accusing me of being on heroin, he says that I got to be in the office the following morning, you know, because the test that I gave him for amphetamine came back inconclusive, which was the whole point of the bleach thing to begin with. They can look for adulterates in the urine, but again, I found out long ago that all of that lab stuff costs them way too much. They do not care. You might have a different experience on state or county probation or parole, but the feds, you would think they have way more money and they would like do fancy lab tests and but they no, it's just like a 5 panel and then they'll get like confirmation of the lab, but they're not like testing for bleach. So it was inconclusive. That was the second time that I was dirty that I'd gotten it off on them. The first time was when I was on heroin, when I'd relapsed, when I was working for that telemarketing place. And I went to the hospital and I got Percocet, and he fucking knew that I was using. It was obvious. I had like tiger claw marks from like scratching, it was not a Percocet look. It was like, you know, Skid Row shit. And that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to get me. So I was a little spooked, I told Jeff, I'm like, damn. And he was accusing me of being on heroin. I'm dirty for weed, It's like smoking weed like it was legal for me, and it's not. They look at it just as seriously as crack or any hard drug. So I was thinking in my mind that I might legitimately be going to jail. And overall, like these are it was a bunch of different stressful factors that kind of were conflated into one breakdown. So my dad and what I do is I go to a head shop. So I go home. Jeff takes me home. I have my dad take me to a head shop, and I buy clean urine. No. I bought one of the drinks, one of the Ready Clean or whatever. And I also got like a home dipstick for THC. That's the only drug that I was using. So I just I would make sure that my shit was masked correctly when I went in there. So my dad gave me a ride at like 10 in the morning, and I'm in his car. I'm literally in his car. I have like my whole little lab set up. I have the cup and I have the dipstick. I just like whip my dick out and I'm just peeing. And my dad's like, he's like, damn, I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm like, what? I'll probably beat it. He's like, no. I'm sorry. So I'm just like peeing in this cup, and then I stick the dipstick after I've done the drink. And remember, you drink the drink once, you fill it up with water, you drink that once, you pee 3 times. That's it. If you drink any more than that, the gravity level will be fucked up. They can tell because of the creatine. Don't do that. Once, fill it back up with water, drink again. Eat 3 times. So I put the dipstick in and I passed. I end up going to probation, U.S. probation that's in Ventura. And, they're scowling at me. I mean, that guy was relatively new, but he had a supervisor named Brandon the guy hated me. And the type, he's like the asshole, pussy whipped, ugly stepdad that the kids hate and the mom treats like a bitch. but he like has some sort of power at the probation office, so he just takes it out on everyone. And then he goes home and just like puts his head down, and his wife is just like, "No, I want red apples, bitch!" And like he like runs to the grocery store, and then he tries to coach the little league, and the kids are just like, "I fucking hate you. You're not my dad." And he just hates himself. Like, I don't know if any of those things are true, but I'd gamble on it. I mean, I'd bet a finger. He seemed like the type. He's just a dick. And it seemed like Josh was like a puppet for him. Like, like they'd sit there and just like conspire against me. And maybe that's just prison PTSD paranoia, but it really felt like that. Like I went in there, I go and I pee. They don't give you the results right away. And I'm peeing and he's just like looking at me. It felt very Philip Seymour Hoffman and Boogie Nights. Just like some really like kind of creepy admiration, shall we say. You know, I'd always try to fart too, when I was getting drug tested. That like, I I almost always farted, and we'll get into this in the third prison term, when they were transporting me to from at Santa Barbara court, because the courtroom that I was in was upstairs. So I had to take an elevator with two cops, and they'd like make you stand in the corner, which is like, humiliating. And you're like shackled and you're in this jumpsuit, and like, moms are grabbing their kids' hands and like, oh my God, get away from the jail guy. You just feel like Hannibal Lecter. You feel like you're literally walking in a newspaper spread. You're like Manson or something. So what I would do is I'd always pound milk, and I'd always like get warm milk. Like I'd get the milk from the day before. I'd like just save it in my bed, make sure that it got like warm and bloated, all the bacteria, and then I just pound like a warm milk, and I'd like just a couple shots of coffee real quick. And I just have bubble gut. And I try so hard not to fart on the bus, because that's it's just it's just not the thing to do. Everyone's like fighting their case, and you're just like farting disgusting milk fart. Nobody likes that. And then like I'd be like in the drunk tank, and like if I couldn't hold it, I just go to the bathroom. I could sit on the toilet and I just courtesy flush while I'm like farting these like just really like almost like aqua um sounding gurgle farts, like sounded like some like jacuzzi filter or something. And then they'd call me, and I go in the elevator, and they'd be like, Leone, they hated me, and they hated Karina. She got escorted out all the time. It's like I would go in there. You can ask Karina this. I would like they would be shackling me, and I would just like be in the courtroom. I'd be like, fuck the police, like just trying to make her laugh because she's pregnant, and she'd be with her friend, and they thought it was like the funniest thing. And the cop would like throw me down. Stop resisting. I'm like, all right, what the fuck? I said, fuck the police. What do you mean? It's a true story. They like took my visits to like 2029 at no commissary, but I mean, we just put money on other people's books. It doesn't matter. But when I got in the elevator, I would like be so stoked. I did it multiple times. Just be like in the corner, and they're like talking, and we'll get into all that. But like, they're always like saying like, yeah, did you see so and so? That guy's such a crackhead. Yeah, but his girlfriend's fine. And you're looking at these guys, and you're like, dude, gross. They're just like they look like date rapists. You know what I mean? Those kind of guys with like the cop mustache. Horrible. And I'd be standing there, and then I would just be like, and I'd be like, excuse me, guys. And they would smell so bad, and we'd be like in this enclosed thing. And then I'd like always go back to my unit, and like everyone would be like, did you get him today? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I got him. Or like I'd come back and be like, I just shake my head like as I'm in the Sally port, and no, I didn't get him. Like, damn. You know, I don't know. Jail's boring. I always seem like a really fun game. I like really look forward to court because would see Karina, and I get to see my parents, and I get to try to fart on the guards. They hated me so much. And I would try to do that when Josh was testing me too. And it sometimes it worked. And anytime, like most guys that test for PO, like they'll just like open their pants a little bit and like, you know, take their dick out. I would always throw my shorts down, like so that they went to like my shoes. No shorts, no boxers, just like a 5-year-old pees. And I just stand there with like my hand on my hip and piss and try to fart, you know. Sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't, it just depended, but I used to love doing that. So after I did that, like you don't get the results right away. So I mean, they bring me into like this conference room and they're like, tell us why we shouldn't put you in jail. I was like, whew, hold on, give me a second. Is this multiple choice? I don't know if I can just like do like some sort of essay right now. At least give me some options. They're like, shut up. This isn't funny. You're facing years. You're a pimp. I'm like, listen, we got to resolve it in state. And they're like, we know you play games with us. We know that you do drugs. We know it. I'm like, how do you know that? Because somebody calls and tells us. That's what he told me. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. If that's true, why am I getting clean tests all the time? They're like, you're not. You're not. The other one was inconclusive. I was like, so what is that? Like an automatic dirty? No, but it's a redo. You get one dirty drug test, and not only are we putting you in prison, but you're going to treatment for 1.5 years. Some Christian boot camp treatment. With Jeff, no, they didn't say that. But like that's what they were threatening. Like these guys were dirty as fuck. Like they were threatening to put me in treatment before my term because they knew that my freedom would be taken from me for even longer. I was looking at 18 months of treatment, then 3 years of federal probation violation, and then 3.5, which is another 18 months. You know, by the time I get out, Nico's doing spelling bees. He doesn't know who I am. He hates me. You were never there for me, Dad. You know, shit like that. Fuck that. And they knew that I was having a kid, so they knew that they were pushing buttons. That's how sadistic some of these guys are. And I was like, I don't like. What do you want me to do? And they said, that's a good question. Community service. I'm like, community service? I said, that's not even on my judgment and commitment. That's not even on my judgment and commitment. Why would I have to do that? They're like, because you got an inconclusive, which right there is bullshit. They can't do that to you. But what am I going to do? I'm in a weird position that, you know, I got arrested for pimping and pandering on federal probation. Like, I have no leverage at all. I have to do it. So, you know, at this point, I hadn't been drinking and I hadn't been doing drugs. And for some reason, I went out and I took Xanax. And this was the night before I was supposed to start the community service. I took I've never, ever done, I'm horrible on Xanax. I'm a completely different person. I started speaking Portuguese and, you know, but I just get really weird and I can't remember shit. So anyway, I took Xanax. I wake up at like 9 a.m. No clue where I am. I'm with my friend Sam, the multi-millionaire crackhead. He's like, hey, morning, bud. Here you go. Made me like an espresso. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, I have community service. I have community service right now. I can't get, dude. I was like, what happened last night? And apparently I'd gotten in a fist fight with someone because I guess we went out to bars. I don't know. I completely blacked out. I don't even remember hanging out with these people. And I was wearing a dress. No, but apparently I got in a fight the night before because one of the guys in this crew of people had called Karina and said that, like, hey, leave Ryan alone. Let him have a night out drinking with the boys. Now, we quit drinking together. This is the last thing she wanted to hear at home, pregnant with my kid, sober herself when she's like a hardcore alcoholic. I really had got in a fight. My shirt was ripped, hand was all messed up. I don't remember, but I heard that I won, which is good. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter when you don't remember, but it's better to hear that you won than lost. So I end up going to this community service, and what I had to do was go to this homeless shelter. I don't know if this is the right chronology, but I'm pretty sure that this is right at this point. May have been before this, I don't know. But I had to go to this homeless shelter. And I go there and it's bad. I'm like sitting, like the first thing that I do, they have like these outside benches. So this is on Milpas in Santa Barbara. I don't remember what the name of the place is, but there's like these outdoor benches where you could like sit and smoke cigarettes. So I'm sitting on the bench, smoking cigarettes, and like some like heavy set black guys like, he's like, hey, how you doing, young blood? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm cool. My shirt's tattered. It's in half. I got in a fight. There's like scratches on my face. My hand's like a blimp. Like you can totally tell I got in a fight. I have like lumps on me. I look like shit. I fit right in. I mean, I look like I'm a resident at this place. And like, and he's like, oh, what are you like looking for, a bed or something? I'm like, nah, I'm doing community service. I'm on federal probation. He's like, I've been in trouble too. I was like, really? What'd you do? He's like, I exposed myself. I swear. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I know it was wrong now. I know what I did was wrong now. I was hanging up at the college, and I showed him my cock. But I don't do shit like that anymore. I'm like, fuck this, dude. I'm like, okay. Don't even know what to do with something like that. And then he's like, he thinks we're friends now. He's like, hey, my name is Anthony, but you can call me Ant. Everybody knows me here. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like everyone knows you everywhere. Ant, Jesus Christ. So I'm like sitting there and I'm hungover. I didn't drink, but I have like one of those horrible Xanax hangovers where like everything's foggy and you don't really like know what's going on. And the guy that's running the community service comes up to me. He's like, what's the guy's from South Park, the gay teacher, Mr. Garrison? He's that flamboyantly gay, which is whatever. Nothing against gay people, but he's like one of those like super annoyingly like chirpy gay dudes that like if you're not hungover, it's kind of annoying, but if you're hungover, it's like nails against the chalkboard. Like, hey, how are you? Okay, today I'm gonna have you scrub toilets with a toothbrush. Like doing shit like that, like super animated, and I'm just like, dude. He's like, what happened to your shirt? Somebody's been volunteering too hard. I'm like, oh my God. Like the sex offender, Mr. Garrison, the gay fucking toothbrush teacher or whatever he was. It's like, Jesus, man. And so he brought me into the kitchen. And like, I'm doing volunteer work. I'm not getting paid for this, right? I'm doing volunteer work. Like, listen, as a lifelong criminal, I consider myself reformed now, but we all know I was a criminal for a very long time. I've always like done volunteer work and they kind of like take it easy on you. Like, oh, you got to pick up trash on the freeway. Just do whatever, dude. Yeah, smoke a cigarette. I'm not tripping. So, there's usually like cool people running that. Now, once in a while, you run into a motherfucker like this that wants to work you harder than his normal employees. And he brings me into this, like the most, it looks like a porta potty at Coachella or something. It's just like dog food looking shit, like all over the toilet seat. And I'm like, don't you have like a toilet like brush or something? Like what the why a little tiny, and it wasn't even one of the it was like one of the like thumb toothbrushes. He's like, well, write your congressperson, they're not giving us funding. You know, people like that, I'm always just like, damn, dude. Like, where they're, you know, they look possessed to some degree. You know, I don't know what he's possessed by. Possessed by some like cock-sucking werewolf or something. You know, that's what it seemed like. He's like, and it was like, oh, dude. And it was like freaking me out with his hungover as I was on the Xanax. I lasted maybe 2 hours. At the most, and I was like, I'm literally scrubbing shit with this little thumb toothbrush. I'm puking. I shut the door at one point and tried to beat off to porn on my phone. I couldn't get Wi-Fi. I remember that clearly. I swear that happened. Yeah, in a shitty bathroom, just because I felt so bad. And once you've done some jail time and you realize that jerking off actually makes you feel better temporarily, I mean, it's a technique you employ for the rest of your life. You know, after all that, I went to go smoke a cigarette. And he came out and just completely chewed me out. He's like, you are an employee at my establishment. I'm like, you know what? I'm cool. I'd rather be in jail than scrub shit off your toilet, bro. I'm cool. Bye. Now, I had the option of working a job or doing volunteer work. That's what they got me on. I wasn't even court-ordered volunteer work, but because I didn't have a job by their standards, their artificial standards, I had to go do shit like that, right? So what I did is I had Zach write me a letter of employment. I'm like, dude, employ me. Give me paychecks. You know, even if it's like $40 a week, just give me something so I don't have to do this shit. Oh yeah, no problem. So he did it for me. So around this time, I'm planning the event. And that's when, like I said in the last video, that's when everybody turned their back on me. Because I just got so weird at this point. I called Freeway. I called George Christie. Talked to Charles Lago, who was George Christie's manager at the time, and he became my manager for a short time. My first manager, not the one I have now. The one I have now is anyway. And then when I tried to reach out to Boston George, that's when I met my new manager. He was managing him at the time, and they were kind of like not working together. I'm going to upload like our slate, the production company that he owns for Tremendous Films, and he's doing a Boston George thing. He does my documentaries on the slate, and you can like see all the different movies. That movie did with E40s on there, and then this one called Psycho Mike. It's their slate. This is like the next 4 movies that are coming out. It's like a sizzle that shows footage from all of them. When I talked to him, you know, he had told me that he couldn't get Boston George, but that he might be able to get Christina. So I got really excited about that prospect because she'd never spoken in public before. So she ends up calling me with him, conference call, a couple nights later. You know, this is after I'd quit the community service thing. And I'm not really sure why I took Xanax that particular night. I think that I did a lot of Xanax towards the end there because of all the anxiety that I was having. You know, I was just super stressed out. And I don't know, that's just what I was doing, even though I don't like Xanax. So I was trying to start the nonprofit, and then Christina called and I talked to her and we hit it off right away. Christina's the emotional crux of the movie Blow. You know, everybody go, well, what happened to the daughter? What happened? Did she ever visit George in jail? What happened? The real life story is much different than the book or the film. You know, I love the book and I love the film. I love the film more. Book, there's some interesting stuff in there, but anyway, so we plan for, you know, for her to come speak. And I had to pay some sort of deposit for her. I think it was like $1,000. And I was finding this stuff kind of frequently. I had to pay Trejo. I had to pay Immortal Technique. I had to pay Christina. And, you know, pretty much everybody except for like people that I actually knew. And we we're going to fly Nick out. So everything was kind of shaping together. And that guy, Charles Lago, had said, why don't you come down to LA? I'd like to meet you. He really wanted to publish Antiheroes, the book that I'd written with Tony O'Neill. At that time, I'd met a attorney named Wendy, who's my attorney to this day. She's an awesome attorney. She's done work for Oliver Stone. She's definitely in the mix, and she's a good attorney. She's helped me so much with contractual stuff along the way. You know, like without her, seriously, I don't know how I could have done half the stuff I've done. She really has helped me a lot. And I had never met her either. Or no. I met her. Oh yeah, hold on. This is when I meet her. So I end up going down and we coordinate it so that it's the same day as when I'm doing that reading. Remember with like the feminist where I like refused to get on stage or whatever? And right before that, like, I think it was like, things happen so quickly and it's like such a convoluted story. But you know, this is how I got to prison for the third time, and there's important stuff that comes up. Before the actual event, and before I actually met Wendy and Charles down in LA, I started talking to Jose, who's my manager now. Jose was managing Christina, and he used to manage Boston, George. I said, what do you guys think about a sequel to Blow? They're like, well, I mean, run something else. What do you mean? I was like, I don't know. We could call it Sunshine. Kind of has like a druggy connotation, sunshine acid, but you know, just sunshine. It has nothing to do with acid, but it's more the connotation. Blow, then Sunshine's the second one. So what if we told it from his daughter's point of view from when he got out? Because she had a fascinating life too. She was Pablo Escobar's goddaughter. Mirtha and George were part of the Medellin cartel. Basically, she grew up around cartel people. Her parents were in prison. I thought it would make a really good story. They said, well, listen, Time Warner owns the rights. It was something that would have to be, you know, Johnny Depp would have to bless it pretty much. And I didn't know Johnny back then. And, but they said they were open to it. Just the idea that they were open to me writing it. They had read my book now at this point. So I'd known them for, I don't know, a few weeks. Everything happened so quickly. And it looked like they were considering giving me the life rights for George, Mirtha, Christina. Time Warner had them. They had to relinquish them. But that was like really exciting news. Now, what this did is it completely blew my head up. It was like, screenwriter of Fight Club is writing a movie about me. I'm going to write the sequel to Blow. Fuck all the peasants around me. Like, I started getting very like tyrannical and like egotistical. So I went down to this reading in LA. I go out to lunch with Wendy and Charles Lago. Charles Lago is like, he's like, tell me about anti-heroes. I was like, well, let me tell you about it. It's about a war veteran that becomes impotent because of PTSD, but then he starts robbing banks and he goes to prison. He kills somebody in prison and he figures out that killing people gets his dick hard. Yeah. And so he goes down to Mexico where he can kill hookers more easily. And down in Tijuana, Juarez, Mexico. Down when he's in Juarez, I don't know how you pronounce it. I always say that shit wrong. But like, you notice how I pronounce a lot of stuff from reading. It's a good thing. It's good when you mispronounce words because it means you got it from reading. You're not fucking parroting from somebody on TV manipulating you. So the guy needs to get boners. He's addicted to getting boners. He's addicted to killing to get boners. I was like, this is like how I'm pitching it to him. I'm like, boners. And like, people are just like I'm already like, my head's so big. I'm just like, yeah. It's like, I'm putting on some massive performance for them. I'm like, so then he goes down to Mexico and he starts killing, but he finds this one hooker, but she's like obese. Her name is Shamu. And he accidentally kills her. She has a heart attack. And then he has to drag her body like from the bar to his motel room. But then he meets this ex-cop, and well, actually he's an ex-DEA agent, and he's addicted to heroin. So he's living down in Mexico too. They meet up because this cartel is trying to get both of them to get some new super drug into the United States. They team up as anti-heroes, and they win. They beat the cartel. And Gunner gets a boner. Charles is like, I love it. You know, it's like, you know, it's just so weird fucking story. It's like, I love it. Let's do it. I'm like, cool. He wanted to sign me. So that was anti-heroes. I talked to Tony yesterday. I'm trying to get him to release this book with me. The book is Really good. Karina loves that book. She's like, this is the best thing you've ever written. It's co-written with him, but he's the shit. But anyway, so I'm really excited because he's gonna sign me. I'm gonna give me a contract. I'm like, yes, fuck yeah. It's like my second book. Now I'm gonna be on this label. Wendy, we start talking. We had to do a shoot up in the Hollywood Hills for Mark Boone Jr., Bobby, Sons of Anarchy. Oh, you're always name dropping. Why can't you just say Mark Boone Jr.? I don't know. Bobby from Sons of Anarchy, okay? That's who it was. So we go up there and I meet him. And I mean, this is like I just gone to the lunch meeting. I'm like selling the book. Then I go up there. Santos is up there. And I like rip my shirt off. I'm like, I'm fucking hot and I'm tan. And I'm wearing like these lame ass Ray-Bans. There's pictures all over Instagram, Twitter. It's like pretty, by now they're kind of infamous because everybody was like, oh my God, Ryan is having an emotional breakdown. Well, this is like kind of the precursor to it, but I'd always be shirtless for like any picture. Like didn't matter if I was like standing on an icy mountain, I like had my shirt off. I was like drinking a Pepsi or something, it was just, I'd always take my shirt off. At first, I think I was like trying just to joke, like, dude, hot tan, fuck yeah. But then it like became a real thing where I was like, yeah, like, look at me. And yeah, people don't like that. It's like, who wants to see some dude post shirtless pictures all the time? Not very many people. So I'm at this shoot and I got to talk to Mark Boone Jr. And I don't know a lot of actors, so it's cool having him like give me props for my writing. And he was telling me stuff and we interviewed him about my book. He read my book, he liked my book, and we interviewed him about it. So that was like the second thing. So now it's like two things just like making my ego like pulsate. I'm like, oh, Bobby in a book deal. And then I had to go to the reading. Oh, and then the Blow 2 thing was going on. So I go to the reading and I show up with Charles Lago. I show up with Wendy. And so like Charles is like the classic agent looking guy, wears suits to everywhere. You like go to the beach with him. Everyone's like in board shorts. He's like in a full suit with like a briefcase and he's like having you sign non-disclosure agreements. And you're like, for sure, Charles, handle it. He's like, oh, I'm on it. He's like a legit manager, not an agent, manager. And Wendy looks like a West LA producer. And then I was with the whole film crew and they had like red cams. So I get there and the feminazi is there. And like, I'm with this like crew of just looked really odd. Jeff's with me. Karina's with me. She's pregnant. And like, I see Joe, who was putting the event on. Joe, the guy that did an interview for Friend Fridays, Joe Clifford. Awesome writer, Junkie Love. And Joe like comes out and he was going through some really hard personal stuff at that time. And he came and pretty much told me what was going on with him. And I was just I was starting to be in mania, and I was like, listen, my manager, I'm calling Charles my manager. I've known the guy for like an hour. I'm like, my manager, he just won't let me go in there unless you guarantee that the girl's not going to be there. And Joe's like, dude, I don't know. I'm dealing with like more important stuff. Sorry, Ryan. And so like I made this huge scene. She had to walk out. She literally had to walk out with her friends. And I like went in there with like my evil Hollywood friends. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to read out of this book so we can get footage. And there was like 7 people in there. It was just a bad scene altogether. So that was my day. And then that night we went out to dinner in Santa Monica at the 3rd Street Promenade with Jim Olds. And we're talking about the sequel to Blow. Wendy's boyfriend's there. I'm like, I'm going to get the sequel to Blow. We're going to do a structured deal. We're going to do a documentary. We're going to do a book. I'm going to do this. I don't care. Maybe after this, I'll just pose naked. I'll stick cucumbers up my ass. I don't give a fuck. I'll suck on anything to get fame. What's up? They're like, you fit right in. I was like, I already know. And like, so I started becoming like an asshole. So, Zach was there. And yeah, Zach was there. And Zach, Zach at one point came up to me. He's like, hey, I got to go. Now, think about it. We're out to dinner with a bunch of producers, A-list writers, actor. Like it's for me, I'm not used to going to dinners like that. And I'm looking at it like he's fucking this up. I'm like, dude, you are fucking this opportunity up. Do not leave. He's like, dude, my chick's mad at me. I'm like, why are you so pussy whipped? Why? I don't get it. Fuck that. Be a man. And I'm like, not be nice to him. After he's done all this stuff for me, by the way. Yeah, definitely not cool of me. And he's like, why don't I just give you like $400 and you pay for it to make up for it? I was like, fine. I like snatched the money out of his hand and he left. So, you know, dinner's like wrapping up. I was like, hey guys, I got the bill. And then everyone's like, you know how LA people are. Oh, no, really. Hey, do you think I get a box dessert? I mean, if you're covering dinner, let me get that too, you know? I got a roommate and shit. That's how they are. But so anyway, so I covered it and then they literally, I gave them cash, gave them like whatever it was, like 300. You know, Zach gave me 4. I gave him like $300 and they took like 30 minutes to give us the change. And so this is when I start getting really weird, you know? It's like 30 minutes. Karina's shivering. She's pregnant. And I just go in and start screaming at them. Like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? It's like some paisa. He doesn't speak English. He's just looking at me. He's like, you know, no, I was screaming like that. I wasn't saying, do you know who I am? But I was like, you are so unprofessional. This was an important meeting. You know what? I'm not paying for my meal. Fuck that. I'm not paying for it. It's like a $300 bill. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like just throwing a straight temper. And I had the money. And like, so now the manager comes out and you know, I'm like I'm screaming to the point that they're like trembling. Like they don't know what to do because I'm like, everybody in the restaurant is staring at me. I'm like, look at her. She's pregnant. You do not make her sit outside. Fuck, I will fucking end your career. I'm like playing out some movie in my mind. I think I'm like some like cigar smoking Hollywood exec now or some shit, you know? I like the fuck really is looking back on it. It's like, this is when I start getting weird. So they gave me the money. I'm like, okay, fuck it. You don't want to pay for your meal? Here you go. I was like, I need a box dessert. No. So we left and we went back to Santa Barbara. And now at this point, Karina, it's just like, oh my God, like your ego's getting a little big there, buddy. And I was like, I'm going to write blow 2 on ice. You know, they'll be rollerblading, ice skating the whole time. I was just having like way out delusions. So we get back and I basically talk shit to Zach. Right when I get back, I start sending him nasty texts like, fuck you. You're messing up this important dinner because we're trying to get distribution for the doc and sell pre-territories. Like it wasn't that important. I just had this false sense of urgency because I knew that I was on borrowed time because I was going back to prison. And Zach's just like, you know, he'd been so good to me. He'd been so good to me. And like, you know, I said this in the last video. I was like, I was Boogie Nights. Oh, it's my big dick. Everyone wants to watch. They want to watch me fuck. And that's what I sounded like. You know, like a weirdo, like a bandana on. Like, you know, like, and Zach's like such a nice guy that he's not really confrontational. He didn't really say anything back. And I just said, you know what? You're fucking fired, bitch. Yeah. I don't know why I ever said that. And like right as I said it, Karina's just like, oh my God. What an idiot. It's like this guy is doing everything for you. He's paying your rent. None of this would happen without him. And I was like, none of it would happen without me. And we'll get into more of me being an asshole in the next video. I just want to get you guys something. I mean, I don't know. I've been slacking. It hasn't been on purpose. It's just been, I don't know. Life has been getting in the way. I'd rather be busy than not. And I appreciate you guys because you guys are the ones that keep me busy. I'm really, really appreciative of you. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Patreon. It's all in the pinned comments. All the shit that I'm trying to sell you. Buy some of it. Maybe. Please. Thank you. I'll see you guys next time. Palabra.